Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. You know, this whole Steffi versus Hope scene, I find myself heavily siding with Steffi because Hope just comes across as extremely self centered and just lacks all common sense. Everything that Steffi's not there telling her, and the thing is, she's getting upset with Steffi like, oh, how dare you sit there and try to ruin my relationship with Thomas and, us not having a relationship. I'm just like, what relationship? What are you talking about? He asked to marry you twice and you said no. You just assume that men just have this infinite amount of patience that we're just going to sit there and be like, oh, okay, you can sit there and just keep saying no to me. I'll just sit there and be fine with it. No, at some point, we're going to move on. This is what this is what women like Hope don't understand, okay? Because all she's not there doing is taking Thomas for granted. We have a love together, we have this together, we have children together. First of all, you can miss me with that children together BS, okay? Because I feel like the thing is, she said that twice. It's like we have children together, and so what that means that you could just sit there and snap your fingers, he can come just running back to you because you have children together. You understand how stupid you sound? That I don't understand this level of delusion where she's like, oh, we have this together just because I'm not ready to commit yet, and da 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 da. Da. Okay, that's fine. You're not ready to commit, but when Steffi's like, you're just using him as a sex toy, and she's like, oh, what are you talking about? Well, he wants to be more to you than just somebody that you hook up with. And she doesn't grasp that concept. He means everything to me and da 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 da. There you go again with the me thing. And she actually gets upset when Steffi's like, yo, listen, I'm putting an end to this right now. This is the first and the last time you're going to sit there and break my brother's heart. And she has this look of shock on her face like, how dare you interfere with me wanting to get my rocks off? When we wanted to make it about me. This is likely why I've been sitting there saying, I've been making this joke about how Hope is a succubus. And it's like today, it's like, goddamn, now it's not even funny anymore. Now you're just literally being self-centered. I don't understand why Thomas is sitting there asking Brooke, well, tell me what your daughter thinks of me. First of all, why the hell are you asking Brooke for? You know how she feels about you, okay? You know exactly how she feels. What do you think she's going to sit there and say? Also, why are you asking Brooke, how does your daughter feel about me? You've been dealing with Hope for how long? How many times she sit there and say no to you? Is she going to ask her mother? Now, Brooke is like, oh, I'm sorry, this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, Brooke, I mean, I know on some level you probably mean that to some extent. But it just, coming from you, it sounds extremely hollow. It sounds hollow as hell. Rich finds out, and, Rich is like, oh, I really feel bad and stuff like that. Now, Hope is going to continue to just act like a self centered POS because I'm pretty sure at some point Rich is going to sit there and confront her, and Hope is going to be like, well, I love him. I just, I can't commit yet because I went down the aisle and and just make up a bunch of excuses. And excuses that, to be honest, at this point, why does anyone care? Why does anyone actually care? It's not to sit there and say they're not valid, but you need to sit there and stop doing that and start taking accountability. Okay, you have those concerns. You're not ready to sit there and be in a committed relationship with him. Well, then you shouldn't have never got into a relationship with him in the first place because it's irresponsible knowing how he felt about you and you just being like, well, I just need to get my rocks off. So, my little battery powered friend just doesn't really sit there and hit the way it used to. Like, what are you doing at this point? You know, it was irresponsible. And then even when she did do that, and he asked her to marry him, I mean, he asked her to marry him the first time, and she said no. That should have been the end of it. Instead, you want to sit there and entertain the idea by putting it on your neck that maybe one day that we'll get together. Now you said that, but your action proved the exact opposite. This is the problem. Actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. And you know how obsessed this guy was so obsessed with her that you made a mannequin. I mean, on some level, why the hell would you want to sit there and be with somebody who literally made a mannequin out of you? And yet you decide to do that and said, oh, we're going to sit there and be together, but I know that when I sit there and say something, he's going to be totally understanding. Yes, the guy who made a mannequin out of you is going to be totally. I can't even sit there and finish that sentence without just. Liam is whining to Carter about how if Thomas is bad for Hope and Thomas is going to snap the minute that Hope turns him down. And, Carter's like, well, I can see where your concerns are. I mean, he's changed and he's gotten better, but I see where you're coming from. He's kind of just really listening and just kind of being, a middleman about it. Because for some odd reason, they decided not to give this man a story anymore. So, this is pretty much what he's relegated to now. I mean, I know that the actor also does write for the show. He's part of the writing team and stuff like that. But it's like, can you write yourself a good story? Can you do that? Can you do that? Just saying. Oh my goodness, this whole thing is just so stupid. It's like the level of I don't want to sit there and say arrogance because it's not just. I mean, granted, it is a bit of arrogance, but it's just even when Stephanie was like, "You went full Logan," I'm just like, oh, okay, I think that was a little kind of too much, but whatever. Just like I think it was a little kind of too much, a little kind of cheesy, but okay, all right, this is B&B, so whatever. Um, anyway, I feel like that's about it. I can't think of anything else that wound up happening, but I always sit there and say. Come to the live stream. Oh, you know what? You know what the sad part about this episode was? Is that this episode was better than General Hospital. And granted, this episode was better than General Hospital because General Hospital was just a filler for some odd reason. They just decided to have a lazy day, so I was like, okay, cool. I guess we're just gonna have to deal with that. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's do a review on B&B. I wanted to do one yesterday. I really wanted to do one yesterday, but it was too close to doing a live, and I could have probably did it on my tablet, but it just would have took a long time. And it was like, you know what? Let's just do one today. So GH was a bus. B&B was good. Days was a bus. Certain part was okay, but for the most part, it was. And I just have high hopes for YNR because YNR is oddly the soap that sometimes I can sit there and count on when GH decides to drop the ball, and B&B is just, well, being B&B. And for some odd reason, Days just isn't hitting. So it's like, well, I'm so glad that I watched all four soap operas. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, if I missed anything, and I feel like I did, come to a live stream tonight. We'll sit there and talk about all this. The succubus known as Hope Logan. And yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk about it. So.